Okay, hola all, welcome to Soul Mechanics. In this episode we are going to be talking about senses. This is the episode that we had skipped over initially in doing the video on intuition, which in turn we are hereby skipping over a video that needs to be done on spatial qualities, or dimensional qualities rather, in order to define a term properly, as a lot of these terms are commonly being misused and it really gets on my nerves, honestly. I mean, I'm a writer, I've got to think for words, and when people misuse them in such dramatic ways, it really gets to me. Now, to begin, I should like to state that I've managed to free up around about 3 gigs worth of space on the phone, which should add up to about 20 minutes worth of time for a video. However, I'm going to go ahead and, should I run over the time limit, I'm going to go ahead and cut it at about 15 to 17 minutes just to be sure. And it will, if we haven't finished there, we'll continue off into the next one. In any case, the senses, the human sensory perception range. You have 5 senses. As a human entity, you have 5 perceptual senses, right? Wrong. You actually have a great deal more than 5 senses, and of course we're going to begin with the 6th. Many people are going to say that a 6th sense is kind of like, like such things as speaking with the dead, or seeing things that other people can't see, or divining the future, knowing things about people, reading minds, that sort of thing. That's all hocus pocus, movie, Hollywood film, theatrical nonsense. The 5 senses that you have, of course, that we know of, the traditional 5 senses that are offered to you, and mind you, the other senses that you have are not hidden from you, as I've stated before. None of this is hidden from you. It's not really provided for you, but it's readily available, and in fact, it's right out in the open. It's common sense. You know this. You know these things. You don't really kind of put 2 and 2 together where it comes to it. The 5 senses: sight, scent, taste, touch, sound. These senses are all very common. We use them all the time, and again, as I said, we have a great deal, many more. In fact, we're going to post 13 senses that you actually have functioning at the moment, to correspond with the 13 chakras. The opening videos that we did for the Anatomy of Identity series were beginning with value, the primary fundamental, base of everything. The construct of reality itself is value, and then value itself, value essentially being love, which is investment, splits into, or fractures into 3 different, initially fractures into a divine dichotomy of duality, and then from there on, that duality, each of the 2 dualities, primarily masculine and feminine, thereby splits into 3 value systems, I suppose you could say, 3 aspects of humanity, which is the fundamental elements of existence itself, the building blocks for reality, which are gravity, memory, and relativity. And these are represented in so many different ways. Modern religion represents it as the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, but more often you're going to find it represented as such things as, mind, body, spirit, or psychology, biology, spirituality, that sort of thing. What's the other one? Psyche, matter, ether is another one that you're going to see a lot. These are all aspects of the trine, the initial fracturing of value into from the duality, the dualistic perspective, into three differing factors that make up the human entity. You in fact do have a body, you have a mind, which is a psyche, a soul, and you have a spirit, which the spirit is the emotional aspect. The mind or the psyche is the individual personality aspect, and the body, of course, is the vehicle by which these operate. And none of these things are what you actually are. They're things that you have, things that you own. They're tools you make use of. Now, throughout the scope of the utilization of these tools, you have, again, skipping over spatial qualities, we have the primary senses that are to be used. Again, sight, scent, taste, touch, sound. And as I said, I'm going to posit that there are, in fact, 13 to correspond with the 13 primary chakras, which we moved in from that video regarding the trine into a video regarding the chakra system. 7 primary chakras or nerve clusters in the body that make up the biological organism, and in fact interface with the other two. The psyche is going to be controlling or manipulating, negotiating in some way. It's kind of like the switchboard for, it's the brain. It's the switchboard for the nervous system and the chakra system in and of itself. And then the spirit, obviously, is your emotional value. It's your emotional body. It's what results from the utilization of these chakras and this bodily system. Now, as I posit that there are 13, the 7 primary chakras, there are actually 13 chakras we've identified as yet in the human organism. There may be more. There very likely are. There are a bunch of minor chakras that are not really, they're kind of negligible. We really don't need to mention them. They don't serve too great a purpose that they need to be mentioned in such a big way. But there are the 7 primary chakras, and then there are, 13 chakras extending thereof. But throughout the extremities of your body. And these senses are going to correspond or correlate with those chakras. In fact, the senses, the primary senses, are going to be the senses by which you negotiate these chakras and how you clear up the blockages in them and allow for the Kundalini impulse to flow. However, again, I'm going to go ahead and also posit at the same time a sort of a paradox, which, again, eternity, the basic construct of our existence, is based on paradox. So, approaching the boundary, you're always going to find these paradoxes that exist. And, in fact, these seemingly impossible paradoxes are, in fact, the only actual absolutes that exist in eternity, thereby making them, the very existence of them, a paradox in and of themselves. We'll get to all that. You guys are going to get this eventually. People have posited very strange senses, such as thermoception, which is the sense of heat, hot and cold, which I believe they said that the perception of cold ranges from 63 to 86 degrees, while the perception of heat is from 86 to 106, while, you know, I have actually placed my bare hand in boiling oil before, and not only not been hurt by it, but not been damaged by it, which this is all a matter of controlling mind over matter. This is a matter of when your brain goes into emergency mode, into panic mode, it causes damage upon the body in certain circumstances in order to repair itself because it believes it needs to. Whereas if you can actually control yourself and your mind well enough, have enough sense of mind control about yourself to tell your brain convincingly that this is not an emergency and it does not need to be dealt with in such drastic measures, it will in fact not do that. It will not only not go into panic mode, but it will not cause the damages that need to be repaired, thereby saving you a hell of a lot of time and energy. However, as I said with the paradox thing, whilst I'm going to display 13 different senses here, I'm also going to posit that you actually only have one sense in play. And the same thing's going to happen with the dimensional qualities. We'll get to that in another video, perhaps the next video. In any case, I'm already running out of time. Sight. You see things, of course, and you see things inverted, which not only do you see things inverted, which again is time moving backwards or inverted, backward and upside down, but you don't actually see color. Color is not something that actually exists in the real world. It's actually an optical illusion, and we'll get to that with the other senses. You have scent, which, you know, you smell things. Scent, by the way, is the most powerful sense that you can have in the utilization of time mechanics and you know, the recurrence of memories, triggering memory triggers via the sense of smell is the most powerful measure we've found yet. Taste, obviously, you know, you taste things, some things taste better than others, you have taste buds. Touch, you touch things, you have you have measures by which to feel things with your hands and such, and then your body, your skin feels things you feel. And tactile imaging plays into this, wherein you can feel things outside of your body, which should not really be something to be debated. I mean, you are in fact a part of everything around you, so there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to feel objects at a distance. In any case, sound. You hear things. Now this is where the primary sense of it all comes into play. Sight is basically you picking up on wavelengths, frequencies, sound waves coming in that are creating frequencies that, you know, create a visual aspect when they reverberate upon the eyes and, you know, go through the visual cortex into the brain and, you know, kind of give you feedback in the brain of the what you're seeing. Scent and taste are obviously corresponding. We know that. We know that you can, for example, take a bite of an apple while you're smelling an onion and taste the onion. This is because they are in fact the same sense. They're just operating from two different faculties. You have a taste buds and then you have scent receptors. Touch, obviously, that's going to be a measure by which you're feeling the vibration, the frequency of the thing. So, ultimately, everything is sound. As I've stated so many times before, I believe that our current scientific understanding is that everything is made of light, but light is in fact sound. It's made of sound. Everything's made of sound. The word becomes flesh. That's true. It's very true. So, all of these senses are just one sense. And as I was saying, people have put forth these hypotheses on such things as thermoception, which dictates hot and cold, or preception or even perception, which perception is perception, sensory perception. So I don't see how that could be labeled a sense. It's kind of redundant. It is sense. So we're gonna toss that one out the window. These are just people coming up with shit. Now, you do in fact have a sixth sense. And a lot of people, again, Hollywood movie magic is gonna posit it as being like speaking with the dead or moving objects with the mind and such, and just things of that nature. Whereas all of that's bullshit. I mean, yes, it's possible. Psychokinesis is possible. It's been done before. It's been documented. I have actually accomplished it to a certain degree. I took a lot of practice, a lot of time, but I was able to actually, create very small, seemingly very nearly insignificant alterations in my environment using the mind alone, moving objects, that is. So I know that it's real, and it can be done, it can be trained, and some people are just kind of born with it. That happens. It is a real thing, but it is not a sense. You do, however, have a sixth sense. You always have, and it's always been right in front of your face. It's called humor. And you know what? You might want to go ahead and take that as a joke, because it kind of is. I mean, it's humorous in and of itself, but at the same time, it's a very serious matter, because what your sense of humor essentially does is governs your sense of tolerance. It governs your sense of acceptability. It governs your sense of tolerance, discretion. It governs your sense of style. It governs various ideals and value systems that make up who and what you are. Your sense of humor is what dictates what sort of a person you become based on your tolerance, your discretion, basically. And so that is your sixth sense, humor. We'll get into the rest of the senses in the next video because I'm already out of time. Sorry, I ran over, and I've been trying to do this video all night long, and I'm like really beat. So we'll pick this up tomorrow, and I'll make you another video covering the remaining 13 senses and how, in fact, they are all actually just one sense that you have. You do, in fact, only have one sense. So, thank you for watching. Kila Salai, Terbi Unisiari, Namaste. Please do try to be as humorous as possible in the future, especially leading up to the next video, which is going to get a little serious. So, thanks again. I'll see you then.